Zach Scow, and I'm the executive director and founder of Marley's Mutts Dog Rescue. And I wanted to take a minute to explain what Marley's Mutts means to me. Marley's Mutts means to me life. It is the only reason that I'm alive and well. It's one of many reasons, but it is the primary reason why I was able to survive the alcoholism and addiction that almost took my life. I was diagnosed with end-stage liver disease 8 years ago, and I was given less than 90 days to live without a liver transplant. When you are end stage, you need a liver transplant, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. And without a liver transplant, I was not going to survive. But I wasn't eligible for liver transplant because you need six months sobriety. And though I spent 2 months in the hospital, that was the only sobriety I had accrued when I was admitted into a transplant program. And I was admitted to a transplant program and was told a couple of things. 1, find a will to live. 2, exercise. And 3, don't drink or use drugs. And I didn't know how to do any of those things. What I really wanted to do most was take my own life. That was what I fantasized about and what I thought about. It was a recurring tape that played over in my head. I came up with and invented different scenarios, like dare to be great scenarios in my head, playing over and over again, that I just wanted to find a way to take my own life that didn't involve actually committing suicide. So being able to jump in front of a speeding car that was going to hit a kid, or thwart a bank robbery, or whatever, anything like that. I just couldn't live. I fantasized about taking my dad's gun and just ending it. And the one thing after I was released from the hospital that kept me in this earth, in this world, and not in the bowels of a very, very dark place, which is, going through opiate withdrawal and all of the things that I had to go through when I got out. The only thing that kept me in the present was my dogs, was Marley and Tug. And when I was going through withdrawals and having extremely vivid hallucinations and terrible pain, I was already yellow and swollen and looked like I was going to die. But then going through the tremors and basically the seizures that occur with withdrawal was terrible. But my dogs, just their presence, helped me to get through that experience. And then every single day, my dogs looked at me with this undying, really perplexing worship. They just loved me. They loved me, loved everything about me. And at this time, I was 145 pounds, completely yellow. What wasn't yellow on me was purple. I was very, very, very sick. My belly was 9 months pregnant, distended, and but my dogs looked at me like I was the sexiest man alive, and like anything could happen. Like that I could be the master of my day, and that my only limitations were my own mind. And they looked at me every morning, wagging their tails with that excitement. What do you want to do today, Dad? What do you want to do today, Dad? And after, I didn't sink in immediately, but after enough time, you just break down. I just couldn't deny their affection anymore. And I'd go look in the mirror. I remember looking at myself in the mirror, still being a relatively vain person, and seeing huge belly. I was completely yellow. My eyes, everything. My butt was totally flat and like wrinkly, and I had my muscles had atrophied from being in the hospital. I had no. I just looked like the sickest sick person I'd ever seen, But my dogs looked at me like I was Fabio. They looked at me like I was Matthew McConaughey, not in the movie. Not in. I digress. But it's just been an amazing ride. My dogs really taught me to take one step at a time, put one foot in front of the other, and just get outside. And that's what we started doing. We started walking, and we started getting better. And I started journaling, and I started writing about what my dogs did for me, and what what the world might be like if I could maintain sobriety. I started to dream again. I started to have aspirations. I started to dare to dream, which was not something I did very often. I didn't think I would make it past 30. And I certainly didn't have any aspirations of, if anything, they were delusions. They weren't bona fide aspirations because there was no way to achieve them. But I started to create this pack, and Marley's Mutts organically developed from it, from Marley being able to help me take in 1 dog, 2 dogs, 3 dogs, 4 dogs at a time, up to 12 dogs. And we got this thing going, and we had so many people push, so many people just tell me, hey, you can do this. Why not do this? Why not start a dog rescue? Why not educate people? Why not talk about, why not be vulnerable? Why not talk about your disease? Why not live wide open, you know? And a lot of people give me a lot of flack for that, but it's been the difference between keeping me honest and not keeping me honest. If I live wide open, then I am forced to be honest, because my natural tendency is not to be an honest person. I spend so much time lying and bullshitting to get my way through addiction and alcoholism that, you know, it become my default to fib, to lie because I needed to, because my reality, the truth of the matter was not good enough. The truth of the matter didn't get me anywhere. I had to fib to make ends meet. And then Marley's Mutts happened, and it's now 8 years later, 7 years later. We have officially founded Marley's Mutts in 2009. And what a ride it's been, man. We've been able to affect, I mean, I've probably had thousands of messages from people in recovery, people that are struggling with alcoholism, people who message me about what their dogs have done for them, people that have adopted from us, thousands of adoptions. We've affected so many lives, all the different schools, hundreds and thousands and thousands and thousands of people, kids, veterans, mentally handicapped, developmentally disabled, people that we've affected in a positive way because of this organization. And it just inspires me to keep going. And what Marley's Mutts means to me now is taking what we've learned with rescue and applying it to people in recovery. We have 2 programs that Liz has kicked off at the Mission, which are 12-step programs, with the men's program and the women's program. And I really aspire to get that going on a larger level and to make that into something, you know, where rescue dogs can help rescue people in recovery, just like they did for me. Just like Marley and Tug. Marley's right here, by the way. Marley, come here, bud. Come here. Well, he won't be on camera. He's 14 years old now. He can do whatever the hell he wants. I want to use the lessons I learned with my dogs to help other people get out of their own mind and into the solution with dogs. You know, get out of themselves and get into the solution of helping an organism other than yourself, by being a part of something greater than yourself. And by waking up and being forced to put your efforts into a rescue dog, into walking that dog, feeding that dog, exercising that dog, giving that dog rules, boundaries, limitations, exercise. Those are all the same things that people in recovery need. And I'm excited to get it going. And that's what Marley's Mutts means to me. I'm sitting on my porch swing, and this is Marley's Mutts Dog Rescue. We can start in the front yard. This is the Muttmobile, my vehicle. And you can see we don't have a driveway. I ripped it up actually last winter because we had people showing up for adoptions, and the driveway was so broken and bent, and the concrete was freezing because it rains and snows up here. So a couple of people slipped and fell. It ended up being a bad insurance liability. So I just took a jackhammer and ripped all of the driveway up. But the problem is that all of this stuff turns into mud in the spring and winter time, all mud. So it's treacherous either way. You can see over here I got Nacho. He's actually on a line out front. He is a dog fighting pit bull. So he came from Kern County Animal Services after being chained to a fence on county property. He'd been ripped to shreds, had more holes in him than I can even explain to you guys. We have links and stuff for that. But he's a sweet boy. He just can't be around other dogs off leash. So we've got him out front where he kind of hangs out here. We cycle him in with the one kennel that we have. So here we are heading into the house. And we're greeted by Lala. Lala is from Thailand. She is a meat trade survivor. Sit. And she's a very good dog, but she is also dog aggressive. So having her integrated into my house, into the pack, is a very good thing. This is Baloo and Maggie on the right. Both of these dogs are repeat felons, each having bit a person. Baloo bit an animal control officer and a woman in the face. Maggie bit a person as well, and she killed a couple of goats after she was adopted. So they're repeat felons and have to stick around here. There's no other place I can put them but here, because it's unsafe to have them with other people. Although they're quite adjusted now, it's still a challenge. So it's we don't have air conditioning or heating here, so it's about 95 degrees today, so that's why we have it shady and the dogs hanging out inside. Let me take you outside. It's a beautiful place where we live. The house is, everything's was built in 1979. We've got a gorgeous view, and I've got about 3 acres here. But you can see we back right up next to other people. So there's a couple of problems that we have, being that we deal with hard case dogs. We deal with aggressive dogs, we deal with medically challenged dogs, and we deal with dogs that really don't have any other place to go. So they come up here for rehabilitation to work with me and a variety of our other trainers. But not only have we outgrown our facility, it's just not really a facility. It doesn't have what we need to be, you know, to fulfill the commitment that we have to almost 600,000 fans on Facebook. We have one kennel, which is actually not too bad, and we'll let Buster out. Buster is another reactive dog. He came from Sacramento. Here, sit. Buster, sit. Show him how it's done, Buster. But Buster's another dog that is a challenge to have around others. So to try and keep all those dogs in containment in one kennel is virtually impossible. This kennel is also outside. So anytime a dog barks, come on, Buster. Come on, bud. Anytime a dog barks, that house over there, which is the chief of police, and that house right there, and then that house up there, complain about it. So we're surrounded by homes, although we're in the mountains and kind of you know, up out of the city considerably. We're 16 miles from the nearest town, and that town is 7,000 people. So we're quite a distance far away, but we just don't have a lot to work with. I recently repaired this fence to the best of my ability, added this gate, but it's just not a functioning yard, so it doesn't work the way we'd like it to. We have all this space but no shade, so it makes it kind of tough to be out here with the dogs for any period of time, because it's so hot and because the ground is all foxtails and stuff that they can get in the dog's paws and have a tough time with it. We had a bunch of agility equipment, but it broke. This is just part of it. And Baloo actually fell through this hole. You know, you can see it's really stunningly beautiful up here, but again, we can't really use, this is a big open space, but it's hard to use for training because the fence is not, the fence is falling apart. You can see this is our other gate that I just pulled off, which is all bent and messed up. So I've tried to make the fence work with what we have, but it's very difficult. When the dogs can get through and can jump the fence, especially when we're talking about aggressive dogs, and my neighbor, the chief of police, has 2 very small dogs, you know, I have to repair the best I can. So I have chain link, well, whatever, this is cattle fencing up here with some boards just to keep this area separate from that area. We try and do trainings over here, but it's just it's become not really possible for a variety of reasons. One, well, the parking lot turned into mud for almost all of the winter, so there wasn't anywhere for people to park. So we try to have people up here. What I didn't touch on before is that we're an entirely foster-based organization. So most of our dogs, other than the dogs that are up here, are at foster homes. And we need to have foster orientations and trainings, and we haven't been able to do that the way things are set up. You can see I have these 2 outbuildings, which we're currently being fined by Bear Valley because they don't match the house. So I don't have the money to paint those or to bring those up to code. So I don't know what's going to happen with these buildings, but I'm currently being fined for this building and this building. This is supposed to be our horse area, this area and that area. We have 2 therapy horses that we want to use to have people come up here and have riding instruction for special equestrians, for therapy with veterans, with kids with learning disabilities. You know, anybody that riding instruction will assist, as well as working with dogs. But again, the fence is not suitable here, and even all of these fences, which we've tried to fix up, are they just don't work very well. So I had explained in my earlier post that Marley's Mutts has kind of been separated into my house and my dad's house, that the overflow of dogs has ended up over at my dad's house, and it's kind of turned into a bit of a debacle for a variety of reasons. As soon as Odie hears me, which she's an aggressive Saint Bernard, she'll start to react. But we had to bring dogs over here, and you can see my dad lives a few hundred yards away from me in his house, and we've had to reinforce like crazy the fence. And then we've got 7 dogs over here. Hooch, come here, bud. Come here, Hooch. Come here, bud. So this is Hooch. Hooch is kind of, come here, big boy. Hooch had his tongue cut out and his ears cut off, so he is a bit of a celebrity. We've moved him down here because having so many of the other reactive dogs up at the house wasn't good for Hooch. He was getting in scuffles, and you can see the dogs have just torn up my dad's yard. All the metal from the sod has been torn up. There's poop everywhere. We've had to reinforce the fence here just to make sure the dogs don't get out. There's Odie up in that window. Odie we have to keep separate because she is aggressive. Usually she's barking her head off right now. I'm not sure why she's so quiet, but that's why we had to move her down here, is because it's too loud at my house. My neighbors were complaining, and if we had someplace to keep them inside, it would be one thing, but we don't. So here's all the other dogs living at my dad's house. Tug, Oscar. Oscar was from a fire. His ears. That's brave Buddy. Buddy was attacked by a bobcat or a mountain lion and nearly killed. Come here, Hooch. What are you doing, big guy? You want me to get your bib off? Is that why you're acting funny? Sometimes he doesn't like wearing his bib. So yeah, Dad has all of these dogs, including Marley, who started it all. This is Marley, the big guy. And then you can hear her barking in the other room. So it's really become a challenge. There she is. We have to keep her separate because she's just not good with other dogs. And again, she has to be up here because the barking is so much that it offends my neighbors. If we had some sort of enclosed area like a barn, there would be no problem whatsoever. If we had just a barn with one door that separated the barking noise, we would be good. So it's been kind of a bummer because what it's created over here is a situation where my dad can't go about his business. He can't go about work like he needs to. He works at home because he's constantly caring for all these dogs that I've basically pawned off on him. So he's got 7 dogs over here. Marley, of course, is permanent. And I just really wish there were a way we could figure it all out and get everybody consolidated over at my house. Give my dad back some freedom so that he can leave the house. I think you've done a fantastic job. You did great today. You've given perfect hugs. Good job, Sonia. pretty bad crack job. And this shoulder was huge yesterday. Oh, buddy. Oh, baby. Oh, my goodness. He's got puppy breath. Come here, big boy. Come here, big boy. Oh, goodness. Oh, my goodness. Little one, give me your paw. Give me your paw. Give it to me. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Big Bulldog. What is your name?
We just don't want to see it worse.
What is your name?
That's Layla.
Layla. You're too pretty to be a Layla. Moses. Skateboard. Yeah, buddy.